People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back!
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today our movie in the middle is Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is the newest MCU movie following various solo assassins and wanted criminals working for CIA Director Valentina as they reluctantly form a team and search for redemption. It stars Florence Pugh, Wyatt Russell, Sebastian, David Harbour, Hannah John-Kamen, Louis Pullman, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So when I first heard about Thunderbolts, this was like, way before it was going to come out. It was one of those big announcements from like years in the future. And I was like, is this really what we're doing? We're just like making these random ones that have nothing to do with anything. Of course, we didn't really know about half the characters that were going to be in this until, later on. But I was just like, what even are we doing? Then we got more about what it was going to be about, and we knew more of the characters, and I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe this could be pretty cool. And a lot of people were kind of on the fence about it, because they were like, oh, this is just the movie to sort of tie up a lot of loose ends and just wrap up some things very easily. And I was like, I mean, yes, but I'm still okay with that. Because as long as we can do it in a way that's, good, we have a good story and everything, then yeah, you wrap up a lot of stuff, you kind of tie up some of the nasty business of the MCU, and you get back on track. So it was like, yeah, I mean, I guess we're sort of tying up loose ends, wrapping them up, we'll never really see them again. No. I love them now, and I want 6 more movies with them. Starting off with the highs, I love the characters in this movie, which is crazy considering half of them are ones that were either from bad MCU movies, we didn't care about, we didn't like, or we just never really felt like we needed to see them again. And yet they took all of them and put them in this movie, and now I love them. I mean, it's crazy. This is what good writing is. This is how you write characters. You make them say real shit, and you make them connect with each other and communicate, and then you care about them. I think they did a pretty good job of fleshing out everybody a lot more than we had already gotten, which wasn't really a lot for a lot of these characters. Some of them, maybe not as much. I would like to see a little bit more from them, but there were definitely a good amount of times where we got a lot of great group dynamics, and I think they did a pretty good job of having this ensemble be pretty fleshed out as a whole. But for some of the standouts, first, I kind of care about John Walker. I'm not allowed. I'm not supposed to care about John Walker. Why did you make me care about John Walker? I couldn't believe it. I kept hearing all this stuff about, oh yeah, now I actually care about US Agent, and like, he's a good character now, and we can turn him around, and we like him, and like, kind of, yeah. And what's crazy is they don't change his character. We just get more about him, and that's all you need to do. I also really like that Bucky is trying to be this congressman, and he does not know how to do it. This is not his forte, and I think that's really funny. It made for some great scenes where he's trying to be a congressman and be in politics the way that he was when he was more of an assassin and a fighter. And everyone's like, no, you don't need to do that. And he's like, but I do, right? Bob is my favorite new MCU character, and I don't think I'm alone in saying that. I'm pretty sure everybody's saying that because Bob is awesome. We love Bob. We have to protect Bob at all costs. He was so great. He is sweet, but he's powerful in all types of ways. I mean, he is just a good character, and I really want to see more of him. But the one who shines the most, obviously, is Yelena. She is absolutely the most fleshed out new character that we have. We got to see a lot more of her backstory and a lot more of, not even just in the past, but how she is now. She really opens up, and she has a lot of character depth and character arc, and a lot of these revelations about where she wants her life to go from here. And if I thought that she was pretty fleshed out and a really fun character before, she's so good in this one. And it's not even, again, like they don't change her character. She just goes through a lot of emotions and a lot of changes, which is awesome. Okay, I know I just said they don't change her character, but she went through change. She is the same person, she's just going through changes. It's not like completely wiped who she is. And again, the writing was just so good. Now, with all that being said, you can probably guess where my next high is going to be, and that is that this is probably a contender for the most emotional and deepest MCU movie we have to date. I damn near cried at this movie. I mean, there was Guardians 3. This was like half a level below that. It was really good. And every time I thought, all right, maybe they're going too much into a metaphor about, all this dark stuff and everything, it just got better. They just pushed it more, and it just got better and deeper. And it was so weird to think that this is probably one of the most close-knit group of people we have in the MCU, considering we didn't like any of them, or most of them to begin with, and they don't seem like people who would be very touchy-feely with each other, but they have to be, or they will die. And that is so good. I just love that we got so many deep scenes, and not even just that, but they're so relatable. There's a lot of conversations in this movie that feel very, like, they hit a lot of emotional beats for many, many people. And there's no way you can come out of this being like, that didn't affect me. Now, that being said, it is still very funny, and a lot of the humor in this movie is actually good. It's not just the quipping humor that you get from a lot of the MCU movies. This one was actually very funny, because, again, pitting unlikely heroes against each other and then teaming them up, it usually makes, if you can write it well, for a really good story, because you're going to get a lot of conflicting and contrasting personalities, and then there's going to be those moments where they sort of understand each other, and you just get all these great dynamics that serve for not only great emotions, but really great humor. And of course, the action is incredible. There are so many action scenes in this movie, and they are all insane, especially when you get to who is the main villain, Sentry, and the first kind of big use of the powers. I mean, I guess there's sort of two scenes with it. The very first use of the powers is a very, very cool scene. But the one towards the end is just haunting. I mean, it's so well done. When I saw that in the trailer, I was like, dude, how in the hell are these people, anybody, but how in the hell are these people going to stop this character? And that is what I think is one of the best parts about this movie, is you have grounded level superheroes, ground level, street level, mostly just assassins with regular weapons and strength. And they're going to beat this guy who can basically pulverize people into shadow with just a touch or just a wave of his hand. That is some Suicide Squad stuff, and Suicide Squad showed that that shouldn't work. But, again, when you have good writers, it can, and they make it work. And finally, and what is another thing that a lot of people are talking about, the post-credit scene got me super hyped. A lot of people are saying this is the first time in a long time that they have felt what they used to feel with post-credit scenes. And it's true. And it's because they're not introducing random new stuff that we're never going to see or not see for a long time. They're just tying it directly into what's coming. And yeah, I mean, we had that with Quantumania. We didn't know that it was going to go the way that it did.
Oh, I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
But this one very, very much feels a little bit more grounded and a little bit more like, we are going to get this very, very soon. And so that was awesome. I do have a couple middles for the movie. Again, things that don't really affect it that much. I just thought were kind of weird. The first one is that when I heard that this was called the Thunderbolts, I'm like, okay, so it's probably a team put together by Thunderbolt Ross. And I don't know if that's how it is in the comics, probably. That's, I'm assuming, what it is. But in this movie, that has nothing to do with Thunderbolt Ross. And I just think that's so weird that that is the second time we've had two of the same name in the MCU, and it was made it so confusing. And both times had to do with President Ross. Because in the first one, in Civil War, you have Secretary Ross, and you have Agent Ross, or whoever Martin Freeman is. And I was like, really? You couldn't just come up with a different name? Again, maybe that's what it is in the comics. I don't know. But then again here, it's like Thunderbolts. It's going to be tied to... because that's such a specific name. And yet it has nothing to do with him. It's just something else. Which, admittedly, was pretty funny in the movie. It was fine. But I just thought that was really weird. Also, there was something that really, really pissed me off. Not about the movie, but about the marketing. As you know, in the Thunderbolts title, there is an asterisk. And we were all like, what does that mean? Well, they tell you in the movie there is a specific purpose for it, and you probably know what it is, because they waited a grand total of 3 days to tell you. I would really have liked to have seen it in the movie first, and then see the marketing, because the marketing was actually pretty cool. Have an asterisk, what does that mean? Then you reveal it in the marketing later, and it makes a big change. Oh, that's pretty cool. I just would have liked to have seen that for myself. before 3 days after the movie came out. So I thought that that was just stupid. That really ticked me off. I do have one low for the movie, and it's not something huge. It doesn't, like, affect the story that much for me or anything. Like, it's still an incredible movie. But it was something that disappointed me a lot. There is a utilization of one character who, you can probably guess who it is from the marketing and how I've already talked about this movie, but there's one character who is pretty much wasted. I wasn't, like, super attached to this character to begin with, but I was pretty curious to see what they were going to do, and I was excited that they were going to be in this movie and with the team, but they're pretty much wasted. And I was kind of disappointed by that. Like, it wasn't the biggest thing in the world. The movie was still great after that. They honestly probably didn't need to put them in there to begin with. It just kind of sucked. Like, I was actually pretty hyped to see what this character was going to do in this movie. So overall, Thunderbolts is a huge relief because it's so refreshing. It feels like some old MCU again. I think the thing is even if this movie has other flaws that we're not pointing out, or maybe I didn't see on the first round, we were all just so starved for a good movie. Not just a good MCU movie, but a good movie. We got, like, something that was slightly great, and we're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But it really is that good, guys. Yeah, it's still, like, I think in my entire ranking, I think I still have it at number, like, 12 out of, like, 36. But that's still the top third. It was so good. And I think I'm just really excited to see these characters again. It really just pulls in the heartstrings and makes you feel a lot. And that's all you have to do is just have good writing, and people will care. I'm going to give Thunderbolts a 3.5 out of 4. Guys, I get to make an MCU video that I don't have to have a bit defending the movie, or the MCU, or where it's going. Is this what happiness feels like? Well, guys, let me know what you thought of Thunderbolts, and let me know how excited you are for the rest of what's coming, the next couple of films, because we're actually pretty stacked. I think we're gonna do okay. I think we're gonna be fine, because we had this, we have Fantastic Four, we have the next 2 Avengers, we have a Spider-Man. It's a good day. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.